Welcome to today's lecture on working length determination. The topic learning outcomes for the lecture are to define working length determination, describe the significance of accurate working length determination, describe root apex anatomy and identify coronal and apical reference for working length determination, list and describe 5 methods of working length determination, demonstrate working length determination using a radiographic method. Selzer was first scientist who reported great success in root canal treatment. If we terminate the cleaning and shaping and obturating the root canal system just short of radiographic apex than overfilling and underfilling. Length is defined as a distance from the coronal reference point to the point at which canal preparation and obturation should terminate. When noting the working length, it's always you need to have a stable reference point. This is usually on the occlusal or incisal surface from which all the measurements are done. You need to note down your reference points in the case paper when you're doing a root canal treatment. Okay, if you don't have a stable reference point, then there are chances that you may do work short of working length or long of working length because you are not noting down the reference points. Now let's look at the anatomy of the root apex. If you carefully look at the anatomy of the root apex, okay, you have something like point A, which is usually the anatomic apex, point B, which is apical constriction, which also coincides with the minor diameter, and point F, which is the major diameter. So all the root canal contents, that is the pulp tissue, is restricted up to point B, which is the apical constriction or minor diameter. Anything beyond the point B is the periodontal ligament. So we need to restrict our cleaning and shaping and obturation up to point B. So our main goal during working length determination is to measure from the reference point to the point B. Okay. So this is a diagrammatic view of the periapex, which looks like a morning glory flower. So again, we'll go through the main reference point. Point B, which is the major diameter. Point A is the minor diameter or the apical constriction. It usually coincides with your dentino-cemental junction. So any tissue beyond the dentino-cemental junction is usually your periodontal ligament. And before that one, within the canal up to point A is usually your pulp tissue. So we need to clean and shape and obturation up to point A, which is the dentino-cemental junction. Anything beyond point A is the periodontal ligament. So what is the significance of working length determination? Working length determination is one of the most important steps during root canal preparation. If anything goes wrong in determining the working length, you will compromise your entire root canal treatment, leading to a failure of the root canal treatment. It determines how far into the canal the instrument should be placed and thus how deeply the tissues and debris are to be removed. Working length limits the depth to which the canal filling can be placed. It also affects the degree of pain and discomfort the patient will feel following the appointment. If calculated within correct limits, it plays a very important role and determines the success of the treatment, and conversely, if calculated inaccurately, may cause the treatment to fail. There are various methods of working length determination. They are tactile method, average method, paper point method, radiographic method, and electronic method. Now let's look at tactile method. Tactile method, after access cavity preparation, what you have to do in this method is that you take a very small file of maybe like 6, 8 or 10 size file, and it is slowly inserted into the canal. This is the first step, okay? You insert slowly into the canal until you feel the stop of apical constriction. Fix the stopper to the reference point. Usually it might be an incisal edge or a flattened cusp. fix the stopper and measure with the scale. So this method is called digital tactile method. It is not very accurate to use a digital tactile method for determining working length because might be some areas inside the root may be more constricted or else having obliterations or calcification within the canal. You may get a premature stop leading to inaccurate working length determination. If you look at disadvantages, this method is ineffective in root canals with immature apex because you may not have a definite stop and the file tip may go into the periapical areas. It is also inaccurate if the canal is constricted throughout its length or if the curvature is present. Next method we discuss here is average length method. This is based upon average length of the tooth. If you look at some average lengths here, maxillary central incisor, usually the average length is 23.3 millimeter, lateral incisor being 22.8, lower anteriors, central incisor at 21.5, lateral incisors at 22.5, mandibular canines at 25.2. So these are the average lengths of the tooth, but we cannot totally rely on the average length to determine the working length because each of us may have teeth with different working length. For same central incisor, one person may have a central incisor of 22 millimeters, and other may have 23, and others may have 21 millimeters. And over a period of time, there are other processes taking place, physiological processes like attrition, or the tooth may wear off due to other reasons, so leading to different lengths. So we cannot totally rely on average length method to determine the working length of uh, the blood or the blot, okay, which is measured. This method is not very accurate. As I said, you cannot use in cases with irreversible pulpitis or vital pulp. May be useful in root canals with immature apex or cases in which apical constriction is totally lost because of root resorption. Coming to radiographic method, here I am going to describe Ingalls radiographic method. This is the most common method we use in radiographic methods. Even in our clinic, we follow Ingalls radiographic method. So let's look at various steps in determining the working length using Ingalls radiographic method. The first step is to measure the length of the tooth on a preoperative radiograph. You need a preoperative radiograph um, taken in a paralleling technique where you get the length of the tooth. Okay, use a paralleling periapical radiograph, take a ruler and measure the length of the tooth from the coronal incisal edge or the cuspal tip till the radiographic root apex. This length, okay, this is the initial measurement of the tooth. From this initial measurement we need to reduce 1 millimeter. Okay, this 1 millimeter is called a safety allowance or safety factor. Why do we reduce 1 millimeter? As I said in your previous slides, the apical constriction is usually 0.5 to 1 millimeter short from the tip of the tooth. Okay, the tip of the tooth, then you got the major diameter, and then you got the minor diameter or the apical constriction. This apical constriction, which may mark the cementodentinal junction, is usually 1 millimeter short from the anatomic apex. So we reduce 1 millimeter from the measured length. Okay, this 1 millimeter is called as safety allowance factor. So we have a length, okay, which is 1 millimeter short from the measured length. So we adjust the file to this length and slowly insert into the canal. Okay, and then we take a second radiograph. After, when you take a second radiograph, we need to see if the tip is short of 1 millimeter or near the apex or going beyond. Okay, if it is more than short of 1 millimeter, necessary adjustments are done. Either it can be added or subtracted, and take a second radiograph, which is a confirmatory radiograph. So here in the example, if you see, the operator, he has taken a preoperative radiograph and measured with a ruler. For example, the length was 23 millimeters. From these 23 millimeters, he reduced 1 millimeter of safety allowance factor and adjusted a file which is usually 10 or 15 size file to 22 millimeter, and then slowly inserted the 22 millimeter length file into the root canal. So in the picture depicted, the tip of the from the tip of the file to the tip radiographic apex, it was 1.5 millimeter, but we need to get just 1 millimeter short of apex. So adjust one more, sorry, 0.5 millimeter short of apex. So adjust one more millimeter to get 22.5 or just 22 millimeters. Either it can be 0.5 or 1 millimeter. Okay. So adjust that one and take one more confirmatory radiograph. So these are the steps: measure the tooth on the preoperative radiograph, subtract at least 1 millimeter safety allowance for possible image distortion or magnification, set the endodontic ruler at this tentative working length, adjust the stop on the instrument at the level, place the instrument in the canal carefully until the stop is at the plane of reference unless the pain is felt, in which case the instrument is left at the level, rubber stop readjusted to this new point of reference. Expose, develop and clear the radiograph. On the radiograph, measure the difference between the end of the instrument and the end of the root. Add this amount to the original length of the instrument extended into the tooth. If through some oversight the exploring instrument has gone beyond the apex, then you need to subtract this difference. So always remember that from the tip of the instrument to the radiographic apex, it should be 1 millimeter and the file should be within the canal. From this adjusted length, subtract 1 millimeter to conform with the apical termination of the root canal at the cemento-dentinal junction. So this is a very easy method to determine working length. So Wien has modified this Engels method based upon the root resorption or else the bone resorption. Okay, if there is no root resorption and bone resorption, you should terminate your file tip 1 millimeter short from the radiographic apex of the tooth. But if you notice there is a bone resorption, then you need to restrict your file 1.5 millimeter short of the radiographic apex. But if there is both periapical bone destruction and root resorption, your file tip should be restricted 2 millimeters short of the radiographic apex. So this modification to Engels method is called Wien's modification of working length determination by radiographic method. Now coming to electronic apex locators. Electronic apex locators are very popular these days to determine working length. Usually the accuracy of electronic method is up to 90 to 95%. They are pretty much very accurate. In the department right now we are using fifth generation apex locator, not even fifth generation apex locator, root ZX apex locator. Accuracy is very good, somewhere around 90 to 95%. So what are the various parts of electronic apex locator? The electronic apex locator has got an electrical device which is usually battery operated device, which has got when you switch on the monitor, you can see, you switch on the device, there's a monitor on which you can see some markings. These markings are shows you the apical anatomy, the markings with markings 0, 0.51, 1.52 millimeters. Okay, and you have something called as a file clip and a lip clip. The file clip holds the file, whereas the lip clip needs to be attached to the lip of the patient. And there is a cord which connects the electronic device with the file clip and lip clip. So what is the mechanism by which the electronic apex locator works? Okay, initially the electronic apex locator was developed in 1950s or 60s. It was dependent on resistance method. So what did the scientist do here is that he did some root canal treatments or open the access of teeth in a dog. Okay, in a dog. So after he opened the access openings in dog teeth, okay, he introduced a file into the tooth, and then he attached a lip clip to the lip of the dog. So in his experiments, what he found out is that the resistance at the periapical area is similar to the resistance of the mucosa of the lip. So when the file touches the periapical area, then you can hear a beep. Okay, so this resistance between the periodontal ligament and the oral mucosa is a constant value of 6.5 kilo ohms. So based upon uh, this finding, the apex locator has been developed. So the first generation apex locator is based upon resistance, which notes that the resistance of the tissues at the periapical area as well as on the buccal mucosa or on the oral mucosa is the same. Okay, so the instrument actually measures resistance, that means opposition of flow to direct current. Okay, the example for first generation apex locator is root canal meter and endodontic meter. Later, second generation apex locator, which is based on impedance. Impedance is the opposition of flow to alternating current. The examples for second generation apex locators are Digipex, Digipex 2, Exact, Apex. Came third generation apex locator, which are called frequency dependent apex locator. It is based upon the fact that different sites in the canal give difference in impedance between high and low frequencies. So the difference in the impedance is the least at the coronal part and greatest at the CDJ. So what does this how does this device works is that you need to attach the lip clip to the patient lip, file clip to the file. So after the access is done, the file is slowly introduced into the canal. So the tip of the instrument, you need to take care that the tip of the instrument should be always touching the wall of the root canal, the dentinal wall of the root canal whenever you're inserting. So it is very important that you need to use a file which is always touching the wall. You cannot use files which are very small like 8 or 10 because they may not be touching the wall and you may not get a reading. So better to use a file like a 15 size file for anterior tooth and a 10 or 15 size file for posterior tooth. So you slowly insert into the canal. The file tape which is touching the wall can detect the difference between frequencies, higher and lower frequencies, and gives a digital reading on the monitor. So when the file is slowly getting introduced into the canal, you can see on the monitor that it is somewhere like 3 millimeters short of apex. You advance some more, it will show 2 millimeters, 1.5 millimeters, 1 millimeter, and as it reaches the apex it starts beeping, showing that it has reached the CDJ where the difference between the frequencies is the highest. Okay, accordingly you adjust your file just 0.5 millimeters short of apex. So as I said, in the clinic we are using Root ZX Apex Locator. There is one more development to the Apex Locator which is called as TriAuto ZX. It integrates the function of both an a uh, low speed low speed torque control handpiece as well as an apex locator. So let's look at some of the problems. What happens if you don't determine the working length accurately? If you look at this radiograph, the operator here looks like has worked short of apex. Okay, very much short of apex. So you can see a large periapical lesion here. So what would have happened is that because the operator has worked short of short of working length, you will have uh, uncleaned areas inside the root canal. There are unclean areas inside the root canal, so persistence of infection was there, and root canal filling also short of apex, unclean areas, okay, leading to eventual failure of the root canal treatment. What in this picture if you see, okay, in this radiograph if you see the operator here in the distal canal went beyond the apex. So if you determine the working length or slightly more or overestimated your working length, so the filling goes beyond the apex, okay, which may also lead to failure of the root canal treatment. How it will lead to failure? While doing cleaning and shaping, there are chances that you may push the debris beyond the apex, leading to pain and failure, or else the irrigants may go beyond the apex because we don't have a definite apical stop, leading to the irrigants and debris going beyond the apex, patient coming up back with flare up, okay, or severe pain, and the treatment also may eventually fail. In the mesial canals also, if you see the operator looks like didn't determine the working length accurately in one of those canals. There's a void here, so maybe short in one of those canals. So if you see, the determination of working length is a very important step. It lays down your foundation for your cleaning and shaping and obturation. In this radiograph, if you can see, there's an overfilling. As I said, the cleaning and shaping and obturation should terminate zero point 0.5 to 1 millimeter short of radiographic apex. It cannot go beyond the apical constriction. So if it goes beyond the apical constriction, constant irritation to the periapical tissues from the root canal filling can lead to pain and eventual failure of the root canal treatment. So the failure to accurately determine and maintain the working length. Length too long, overestimation can lead to perforation through apical constriction, overfilling or overextension. There might be increased incidence of post-operative pain, prolonged healing periods, lower success rate owing to incomplete regeneration of cementum, periodontal ligament, and alveolar bone. Working length short of apex can lead to incomplete cleaning, underfilling, persistent discomfort. You get an incomplete apical seal, apical leakage, which supports the existence of viable bacteria and contributing to periradicular lesion persistence. So, before determining a definitive working length, the coronal access to the pulp chamber should provide a straight line patency to the apical foramen. Modifications in access preparation may be required to permit the instrument to penetrate unimpeded up to the apical constriction. Monitor working length periodically since working length may change as the curved canals are straightened. A straight line is always the shortest distance between 2 points, so you need to take care of these points. Loss of working length may also be related to accumulation of dentinal and pulpal debris in the apical 2 to 3 millimeters. So there are two steps you need to take care of during cleaning and shaping. Always use copious amounts of irrigants to flush out these debris, okay, so that these debris don't block the canal and you lose the working length. And always recapitulate with smaller files. That means before going to the next file for cleaning and shaping, you need to use a preceding smaller file to remove or loosen the debris and thoroughly irrigate the canal. Loss of working length may also be related to failing to maintain the foramen patency, skipping of instrument sizes, or failing to irrigate the apical one-third adequately. Occasionally, working length is lost owing to ledge formation or to instrument separation. Instrument separation means instrument breakage or blockage of the canal. Thank you very much for listening to the lecture. Hope you enjoyed this lecture. Next lecture would be on endodontic instruments. We give an introduction to various endodontic instruments used for root canal cleaning and shaping and obturation, followed by cleaning and shaping. Thank you.